3 hours later.
When people heard me and my demo was sent wherever, and I'm not just saying this, you know, to get people's acceptance or to be like, this is what it was. People thought I was a high-pitched black dude. Like, I don't know, I think it was Fat Lip from the Far Side or whatever. You know, with Big Up the Far Side, that's another one of my favorite groups, you know, along with Tribe. But anyway, I love the Far Side, man. If you don't know, you better go check it out. Google that shit. You know, The Bizarre Ride to the Far Side, best album, one of the best albums in hip hop. But anyway, they thought I was just a high-pitched black dude. Because a lot of my stuff was infused with pro-black lyrics, because I lived it. Facts. You know, not only my teen years, okay, not only coming up with the marches and stuff, but when I had the dreads, I found out firsthand what a lot of white dudes especially say, oh, that racial profiling is bullshit, that black guy must have done something. That's horseshit. And I learned it firsthand. When I had my dreads, I got pulled over on a daily. 100%. And just like down south, the cops were probably worse on me than they would be on a black dude, because they were like, what are you doing, Mr. White Dude with dreadlocks? You know what I mean? And I went through this one town, which I still got to go through. You know, I'm not going to mention that town. My man knows the town, but I am not going to mention the town. I got my ass beat by the cops many times. Now, once upon a time, back in the day, before there was cell phones and video surveillance and all that shit, when you got your ass beat by a cop, all you got was your ass beat by a cop. There was no lawsuits. There was no, I'm going to take your badge number. There was none of that. All you got was your ass beat by a cop. And that's what I got, my ass beat by a cop. Facts. So I had a lot of lyrics directed toward that and standing up for a lot of civil rights injustices that were happening, because it happened to me. You know, because the minute I cut my dreads, I was smooth sailing, okay, white Joe. You know what I mean? But when I had my dreads, ask my kids, going to school with the dreads, I was strip searched with my kids in the car.
Jersey, New Jerusalem.
Boxcar Productions, another smash.
My future's bright, nothing but clear skies. Barslow and Chain, who's down to fly?
And if you ain't with it, forget it. On to the next now.
Who's down to fly?
Let go.
Meanwhile.
Anyway. So, you know, that being the case, you know, I thought I had an in, because everybody, and then on top of that, we were meeting all these people. Like I said, the first record deal that we had, you know what I'm saying, Kane's manager, Big JC, was like somehow loosely connected or knew of the dude, or was hired by the dude that came in and took over the first record deal we had with another record deal we had that went from a crazy record deal to a slightly less crazy record deal. And no disrespect to JC, because he wasn't part, I don't think, part of the label that I know of, but we met him all the time, cool dude. And just the fact that he was associated with Kane was okay with me, because Kane was my idol. Kane was my Superman. You know what I mean? So that was that. And we've been out here so long, we're about ready to get through a hurricane, but that's okay. Let me rush up this story. So I thought we were good. But we thought it was funny that every producer, every big name cat from, you know, that we work with, that were in movies, and big name producers and legends, like, you know what I'm saying, like Cool Rock from the Fat Boys was on our record label. And we was like, you know, that's Cool Rock ski, man. Like, come on, man. Like, did I die and go to hip hop heaven here? You know what I'm saying? Scratch from EPMD came through and was, you know, I guess that's one of the dudes they were going to see what tracks he had or whatever. Big JC gave him a call. You know, but a lot of celebrities came through this joint. Like I said, man, Skid Row's people came through. And again, big ups to that, man. Big ups to Skid Row, because at the time back then, no matter who I chilled with, that drummer had the chronic. Big ups to you guys. And they was real cool dudes, you know, as far as rock goes, you know what I mean? You know, step out of hip-hop for a minute. Rock, you know, I'm not going to lie, man. I come a big musical background. I like Skid Row, you know what I mean? Sebastian wasn't there, but the rest of the band was there. The drummer had some chronic, and he made me a good-ass burger, so big ups to you. But, so, we met all these people. You know, but I'm watching, and we say, okay, Beastie Boys, boom. Now the Everlast was, you say, okay, now third base. They came in. They're the white boys that took over. I'm like, all right, Pete. And now Vanilla Ice came, and he's overshadowing everything. He was the biggest of the white boys at that time. So I'm like watching all these, you know, people that came out, and I wasn't caring that they was white, except for they took my spot. I was like hurt. I was like, damn, man, I thought I was right there with a deal with Jeff. You know, because everybody's, I mean, ultimately, if you're a hip-hop head, everybody wanted to be sound like Def Jam. Come on, man. Like, Def Jam, you know, and I was like, yo, if third base got in there, I know I can get in there. You know what I'm saying? Look at Search with his high top fade. If he's got the high top, I got the long dreadlock. And then the Young Black Teenagers, which never, you know, really became, they had a big hit with Tap the Bottle. And then I was confused with the dude from the Young Black Teenagers. You know, when I would go to New York or whatever, we would slide in places because they thought I was him. I didn't even say I was him, but they thought I was him. Fat Joe had jokes, you know, about that as well, because I think he thought the same thing. You know, when I was peddling the deal, and actually I was there for my man when I was producing my man La Meek. And he was like, yo, what happened to dude? Shit didn't work out. Because nobody in hip-hop really took those dudes. I think it was the name. Because they came out, too, at a bad time. You know, 5%ers were out. And if, unless you was coochie cool, you know, like I was with a lot of the people I knew a lot of 5%ers, and they would even build around me. You know what I mean? And I never disrespected it. I never jumped in aside, even though it would have been acceptable. I never said, hey, teach me. I wanted to learn everything I could learn about everything. I wanted to know about, you know, I mean, I learned, you know, simple stuff, you know, supreme mathematics, you know, supreme math, you know, the jewels, you know what I mean? Like some things, you know, I kind of said, well, what's that? And what's that? Just so I knew, you know, but I never like built around anybody. And especially because I was producing La Meek, you know what I'm saying? Which, again, another dude that I had the most love for, and I would die for that dude. You know what I mean? Like, I was literally, you know, his manager, his producer, his friend, his brother. Like, we was cool like that. You know what I'm saying? And I would do anything for him. And like I said, what we made was like the ill math. So what we thought I thought I was there. And unfortunately, wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people didn't like the Young Black Teenagers, and they never made it anywhere. So far, there was only a few white groups that came out. So I said, oh, then there's spot for me. And then the whole Vanilla Ice thing happened, blah, blah, blah. And then there might have been, between Vanilla Ice and Eminem, there might have been somebody that I can't think of. Of course, I could name you a bunch of people that should have been, like, the biggest thing on the planet. But R.A. the Rugged Man, he should have been the biggest thing ever. And you know, Slug from Atmosphere, like, oh my God. Like, that dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And as far as that goes, like, it was like, you know, another, for me, wow moment in hip-hop, those dudes. But they just never made it. It made it with me because I kept my ear to the street. A lot of people don't. They go commercial, just like today. If you're on the trending list, you're cool. If you're not, you know, fuck you. Like, even me, or take me out of the equation. People like me. Like I said, let's go back to my man Trife Majors. Right now, people might say, you know, that are listening to Jack Harlow might say, Trife Majors, that dude sounds whack. He's old school or whatever because of the way he splits his bars and whatever. You know what I'm saying? And the thing I like about Trife is, like me, he's diverse. So if he does tracks with other people, he can switch up his diversity. Unlike a lot of these rappers today, you can only rap one way, that one cadence. If you're a hip-hop artist, you can rap any which way if you come up with that. So, you know, the whole thing in a nutshell is that people can say, you know, oh, they whack and this, that, and the other, because they don't know, because it's not commercial. You know what I mean? So anyway, all that being said, and that now that you got it embedded in your brain, there can only be one way. Eminem came through the pike, and I was waiting to see. my first reaction was, this motherfucker's dope. Like, for real. Like, and I said, this is, no matter what I said, this is another event in hip-hop. You watch and see if he doesn't spark a white boy movement. And no matter what you say about Eminem and everything he's done and everything he said in life, you know, the bottom line is he can be credited for, you know, talent, you know, but with all the time and money and the team he surrounded himself with, okay, I mean, he should be where he's at. You know what I mean? But as far as starting a movement, he started the frat rap movement. All the white boys that came out after Eminem, Eminem can take credit for. Like, because after Eminem cracked it and the internet was out, everybody started coming out of the woodwork. And of course, 99.9% of them were not and would never be accepted by the black community or hip-hop lovers, period. Because it was just party boy, white boy, pleasing that segment mentality. But as far as Eminem goes, I thought he was dope. And the fact that he was down, that I heard he was down with Dre. Now, I heard something from Eminem just from our travels. Yeah, there's this white boy that's coming out, you know, that, you know, I think he was with like the Outsiders at the time. You know what I mean? So I kind of heard of Eminem before he even came out. But then when he came out, the light bulb went off and I said, oh, that was that dude. Oh, okay, he was fucking around with some dudes from Jersey, so all right, he's all right. But for me, I didn't hear a lot of the love of hip-hop coming from him. So I thought it was just another one of these white boys coming out that didn't have a love for the culture. And like I said, I think it was Inquiring Minds, I'm not saying that I'm right. I could be wrong.
And what? Did the spotlight have your memory hazy to make you forget to thank the veterans? Shady? I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. The only people that you thank was your mans and them that helped your career and gave you a boost. You know what Malcolm said, chickens will come home to roost.
But first of all, I did Inquiring Minds basically is what it says. I was asking, because before I did any of that, like I do my research, I tried to reach out to his management, I tried to reach out to his label, I tried to reach out to everybody and talk about Eminem, because at the time, keep in mind, the internet wasn't like it is now, man. It was just coming out. You know, you had the AOL shit, you know what I mean? So you really weren't researching dudes that were coming out like you are today, you know, with the smartphones or whatever. I think I just had a cell phone for like a year before Eminem came out. So I made Inquiring Minds because I couldn't reach nobody. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna put out this record, not for clout, but for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And you can ask, you can hear the lyrics. It says, let me know. If I'm wrong, just let me know. And I bigged them up in the song, and I kind of threw some jokey little digs. And to be honest with you, both of the songs, that one and Shady Biz, if Eminem heard them today, which I'm still not convinced that he had any knowledge that them records even exist, because that's what happens when you're in the ivory tower. You lose touch with what's going on down here. You know what I mean? But I will say that if he did, I think that him and his whole camp, knowing the story and knowing the white boy plight in hip-hop, would say, you know what? I believe that dude, and I believe that it wasn't malicious. I believe it wasn't for clout or to advance himself. You know what I'm saying? Like even Benzino and some of the other dudes, they made it a racial issue. But I understand where they were coming from too, because at first, you don't know what to believe in hip-hop, because both black and white people were coming out with gimmicks left and right. And white boys, there was a lot more white boys coming out with a gimmick than, like Vanilla Ice. Like, really, I love him. I do. I'm going to say it out here. I love Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice, I love you, man. You know what I mean? He got caught in some bullshit stories because, you know, at that time, all you're trying to do is make money and stay on top. He made it from 0 to 100 in like a blink, and he just wanted to keep what he had. So allegedly he told some lies, and unfortunately the people around him, instead of putting him in some Timbs and a hoodie, they put him in a shiny suit, and he made billions of dollars. So people hate the dude. I don't hate the dude, and I do believe in my heart that he loves hip-hop. You know what I mean? And he obviously had a lot of people in hip-hop that were down with him, but at the time, like I said, ear to the street, nobody liked Vanilla. So that's what people thought of Eminem when he came out. they were like, all right, because keep in mind, like, he didn't come out with Lose Yourself right from the door. He came out with, hi, my name is, and people said, oh, here we go again, another white dude. That's what they said.